So I always say to people after a training session, particularly if it's had a strong element of confrontation to it potentially, you always got to at the end blow them up with a lot of affection before putting them away. Now that's not what really Bodie and I just had going on, but for him it might have felt like that, and I'll explain why in a second. But anyway, there's a story I want to tell that really, this is what really opened up my eyes to how powerful that can be and how necessary it is, right? So once I watched this other trainer. He worked with this puppy. It was a pit bull puppy, and he did some rough shit with this dog, too rough. The dog wasn't moving. It was because the dog had a martingale on instead of a star mark. So to get the dog moving, he was... I'm not going to get into what he was doing from a technique standpoint, other than to say that it wouldn't have been necessary if the proper collar had been on the dog. But anyway, he got the dog moving. It was a little too rough. Dog was yelping and stuff. And I was like, Jesus Christ. So at the end, he was like letting the dog crawl all over him. He spit in the dog's mouth. He's a good boy. And like he was like really blowing him up with praise. See what I'm then do. And I was like, Jesus, that was nuts, dude. I was like, let me try that. So I tried to walk the dog, work with him a little bit. And again, it's because he had a martingale on. It doesn't have enough give. A star mark would have gotten him moving fine with very light tension. So anyway, I couldn't really get the dog moving very well, so I just let go. Because I was like, I wonder if it's the dog really that crazy or what is it? It was the collar. But anyway, I didn't make up with the dog afterwards. So we saw the dog 6 months later. He was out in Jersey. He had a client. I went back out there with him just hanging out. And he met the dog. The dog was all over him. And then I tried to put the dog... And I was like, the dog was like skittish around me. So afterwards, I got in the car. I'm like, do you think the guy's hitting that dog? Because he's hand shy. He goes, no. He goes, because you didn't make up with the dog. He goes, but you fucked that dog up unnecessarily. Which he didn't understand because he's nuts. But he really understood the importance. He was, in a lot of ways, a very amazing trainer if he could just be a little bit less aversive. But he understood how important it was to make up. I was gentle with that puppy, and he wouldn't, so that he could smell me. They remember your scent, right? And this dog wanted nothing to do with me. He was a pretty friendly dog, too. And Rex, he was cool with. He was just like all over this guy, making out with him. And he remembered his scent because he passed his saliva, and they had made up. So Bodie's used to shutting down. Owners don't know what to do about that. A lot of times the dog has a harness on or a martingale or a flat collar, which is going to produce a lot of tension. Star Mark has some give. So I just kind of, and it was raining out. I get him out in the rain because it's necessary for housebreaking. Which, with the Dotson, it's like, trying to get a Roddy to not be territorial. But, they're doing all right with it. Come here, Bodie. Everybody, good boy. So anyway, I kind of just made him get moving. Light leash tension. Let's go. But I didn't let him win. And I was freezing. I wanted to let him win and shut down and pick him up because my hands were cold. I didn't have gloves on. I was like, but I'm getting paid not to do that. So we pushed through it. Wasn't popping the leash, like he was a big, like it was Dewey or something. Gentle. He's prodding him along, but he didn't get to win. He's not used to any real pressure. But there was a little bit of tiny little pressure, and the point was he had to get moving. He didn't have a choice. I was nice about it. He had no choice, though. So that I'm sure that felt confrontational to him on some level. So we're making up. That's all we're doing right now. We're just hanging out, and I'm letting him know it's not personal, and he's not going to care. Next time I take him out, we'll be cool. But something like that with a very soft dog, which he is, it could potentially make them distrustful toward you. So after a training session, really always, but particularly if it's been one that had a decent element of confrontation to it, or particularly if it had a heavy element of confrontation to it, make up with them. Otherwise, they'll remember you, and not in a good way, but they're very forgiving, as as this guy demonstrated. I mean, he did some rough shit to this dog. Best buddy 6 months later. I was like, oh. But that's why. And by the way, the passing of the saliva, particularly upon introduction, helps tremendously with that, because they experience the whole world through their nose, and that's what it is. It's you're working off of scent. Actually, it passes through their mouth into their nose when you pass the saliva, so they'll remember you like that. All right, so very, very important note, and a funny story that I wish I could get into more detail about, but it just no. But it was a very funny, unfortunate episode. But the dog let it go, so.